From our studio located in Madison, New Jersey, this is Real Good News.
I'm like the man they call a seeker. I'm a real truth speaker, and I always cut right to the core. And you know I really ask, cause I get right to the facts and get the answer to what I'm looking for. I can pronto beg a lie. I'm a tireless and quiet. I've been a furious faker since my youth. My motives on above ground. I've always been a bloodhound for the truth. The truth.
Welcome to another episode of Real Good News, your local news show for Morris and Union counties. We open with this footage from the snowstorm that rocked our region at the end of January. We thank longtime friend Andrew Dutton for this footage. Later on in the show, Kate Cherichello Tente from Healthy in the Garden State and Tommy Nonamaker will join us, and Georgette Castro will share some snow clearing tips that can help save lives in an emergency. Plus, we have these stories.
Coming up on Real Good News, we'll have a conversation with a professor who's researching the nature of urban heat islands, the structures in the city that make them seem hotter in the summer than the surrounding countryside. I'm Steve Lubetkin.
I'm Allen Swanson. On today's show, I will be discussing new scientific findings that reveal tiny plastic particles are now everywhere, in our air, our food, and even inside our bodies. We will look at what nanoplastics are, why scientists are concerned, and why reducing plastic exposure is becoming an important issue for everyday life.
But first, here is Georgette Castro.
Thank you, Lisa. The Madison community is grieving the loss of Dick DeBiasse, a long Madison resident, inventor, master mechanic. Dick passed away on January 24. His work influence reached far beyond Madison and into the world of automobile engineer. For more than 60 years, Dick worked at the Dark Horse Machine Shop on Central Avenue. The shop looked small and simple, but it became famous among race car drivers, engineers, and car builders around the world. Dick was mostly self-taught and lived with dyslexia, but he had an exceptional ability to understand how machines work. He did more than repair engines. He found new and better ways to build them. In 1967, Carcraft magazine published a long article about one of his most important inventions called the miniskirt piston. At that time, most engines used heavy pistons. Dick believed they could be lighter and more efficient. His design used fewer parts, less weight, and more precise engineering. The result was a major breakthrough. His piston weighed much less than others, created less heat and friction, and allowed engines to produce more power. The magazine described Dick not just as a mechanic, but as a creative thinker who was changing how racing engineers will build. His work led to several patents, and his ideas are still used in modern performance engines today. Because of his skill, Dick worked with top-level motor shops. He built race cars, hot rods, and high-performance engines. He was trusted by owners of Ferrari, Porsche, and Lamborghini. Famous drivers such as Mark Donohue and Lake Underwood relied on him for his knowledge. Even with his recognition, Dick chose to stay in Madison and work from his small shop. People who knew Dick understood he was more than an engineer. He was a storyteller, a craftsman, and a strong, independent person. He took pride in everything he did, whether designing engine parts or building a wooden bed by hand for his son. Dick was born in 1934 and spent almost his entire life connected to Madison. Dark Horse Machine became a local landmark and symbol of creativity, hard work, and imagination. Dick showed that great ideas do not need big company or fancy title. Sometimes innovation begins in a small shop with simple tools and the courage to think differently. Dick DeBiasse lives behind powerful legacy, not only through his inventions, but through his creativity and craftsmanship that help define the Madison community.
They say home is where the heart is, and that's what the Dark Horse was for anyone who needed a home. He had the heart. It was a legitimate machine shop on the bottom, and back in the day, he used to make special Ferrari engines. And then there was this gathering space on top, and it was a club, and everyone knew it. And he let a lot of people in. You'd get a key to his shop, and a shirt, and a nickname. And that way you knew if you ever needed anything, he was there to help. When I met him, he wasn't really making engines anymore. He was remodeling the nose on his Daytona. And for a while, he mostly just allowed others to use his space for their own businesses. And he showed me how to sandblast and how to weld, and showed a few other people that were there too. And some of them are still doing that as a career. He also invited in artists and photographers and painters, and he became a writer himself and wrote a couple of old Western style books. He didn't get them published yet. He didn't do drugs, and he didn't like it when people got drunk. He didn't want people wasting their lives or his. Richard DeBiasse, also known as Dick DeBiasse by his buddies, he was invested in his town and the people in it. His shop might have had a sign that said, "Rest for the weary," or "Room at the inn." He welcomed in so many people like myself who just wandered in. I wasn't looking for a club, but I was feeling pretty misunderstood. I don't know how he learned to be such a good person, but he credited his experience dealing with rebellious teenagers to his time taming wild horses in Wyoming. But I think it started before that, because he also would tell stories about holding friends who would take their last breath in his arm, like when he was in Germany after World War II. Everyone needs a little help now and again, a little encouragement that their life is special. He always talked about opening a school. He meant teaching the kids to use the machines in the shop, but also on just how to be a human. So it's understandable how someone who may not have otherwise found a safe space to thrive did here. Honestly, the amount of energy that guy had was exhausting. It's a good thing he hung out with young people, because he was always juggling a million things, making jewelry, inventing and reinventing cars, and their car parts and auto bodies, writing poetry and books that still need to be published, like Gray Horse of a Different Color. He loved his country, his life, and everything in it. In God we trust. Rest in peace, Dick.
This spring, graduating seniors from a Union County high school have the opportunity to win a $750 scholarship. The Master Gardeners of Union County have announced that in a partnership with the Cooperative Extension of Rutgers University, they will be awarding one scholarship for $750 to one high school senior who plans to study agriculture, horticulture, environmental science, or a related field in college. Trained by the Rutgers Cooperative Extension, the Master Gardeners are volunteers who work to provide Union County with environmental programs, community outreach, and horticultural education. The scholarship is in honor of Madeline Flahive DiNardo, a Rutgers cooperative agent who has long supported the Master Gardeners, and eligible applicants must be a graduating senior attending a Union County high school. The student who is selected must show an interest in community service, plants, or the environment, as well as academic aptitude for the field that they choose to study. For more information on this exciting opportunity or how students can apply, visit the link shown on your screen.
On January 28, 2026, the Morris County Department of Human Services joined the Mental Health Association of Essex and Morris, Inc., and over 40 community partners to host Project Homeless Connect at St. Peter's Episcopal Church in Morristown. Since 2009, this annual community event has supported individuals experiencing or at risk of homelessness by connecting them with housing assistance, behavioral health services, benefits enrollment, food, and other critical supports in one central location. Additionally, the Morris County Board of County Commissioners has again approved a $300,000 annual allocation for homeless prevention and emergency assistance. This funding has further helped residents avoid eviction, restore utilities, secure housing, and access emergency shelters. Additionally, the Morris County Board of County Commissioners has again approved a $300,000 annual allocation for homeless prevention and emergency assistance. This funding has further helped residents avoid eviction, restore utilities, secure housing, and access emergency shelters. Despite homelessness increasing 8% statewide, Morris County saw a 9% decrease in the past year. The county is using its newly annual federally mandated point-in-time counts in order to understand trends and direct resources where they are needed most.
Recent winter storms have left many residents spending hours cleaning snow from sidewalks, driveways, and cars. As cleaning up continues across town, local fire officials are reminding residents not to overlook an important safety step: clearing snow away from fire hydrants. Fire hydrants are a critical part of emergency response. When firefighters are called to a structure fire, every second matters. Crews rely on quick access to hydrants to connect hoses and begin firefighter operations. When a hydrant is buried or difficult to reach, those lost seconds can make a real difference in the outcome of an emergency. Snow and ice can make hydrants hard to spot, especially at nights or during heavy snowfalls. Clearing space around them in advance help firefighters locate hydrants immediately when they arrive on scene. Officials recommend clearing at least 3 feet of space in all directions so crew can work quickly and safely. A hydrant may not be located on your property, but it still saves your home and your neighbors. Fire protection does not stop at property lines, and clearing a hydrant anywhere on your street helps protect everyone nearby. Residents are encouraged to clear the hydrant closest to their home or any hydrant they safely can clean. Fires are unpredictable, but preparation makes a difference. Next time it snows, remember to clear a hydrant and become a hydrant hero. It's a small effort that helps keep your street, your neighbors, and your community safer.
If you're looking for a fun and informative event this winter, then the Union County Board of County Commissioners has just the thing for you. The Trailslide Nature and Science Center, located in Mountainside, is hosting February festivities on Saturday, February 14th. The event, which is recommended for families with children ages 4 and older, is made up of numerous outdoor activities that come with free crafts, giveaways, and prizes. Attendees will have the chance to observe and identify birds, create an acrylic painting, taste maple syrup, and drink hot cocoa by a campfire. To register, visit ucnj.org/trailside and follow the link to Union County's secure online registration page. Both adults and children must register for each of the day's events individually, and fees do apply for special programming. Residents who plan on attending are encouraged to register online, as walk-ins will only be accommodated as permitted by available space.
Isabel Alcott is recognized for her decade of service in the Morris County Trail Construction Grant Program. Alcott stepped down from the advisory committee. The grant program honored her with a framed resolution of honor on its 10th anniversary. She served on the Morris County Planning Board since 2001, bringing expertise in municipal and county planning and experience to her public service. In 2015, she was appointed to the Trail Program Policy Development Committee, which established the framework for what became the Trail Construction Grant Program. In 2016, the program officially launched, and Alcott was appointed as one of the 2 planning board representatives and served as a charter member of the advisory committee. During her tenure, Isabel Alcott evaluated more than $11 million in grant applications and recommended more than $6.5 million in funding for trail projects, contributing to more than 35 miles of trails throughout Morris County.
The Morris County Revolutionary Lecture Series is bringing local history to life with a free monthly program focused on the county's role in the American Revolution. The series recently launched at the Morris County Library and drew a strong turnout from residents. The lectures are presented by the Morris County Historical Society in partnership with the Morris County Heritage Commission, with the support from county officials and historical organizations. The goal is to highlight the people and events that make Morris County a key center for Revolutionary War activity. The opening lecture explores the relationship between Alexander Hamilton and Elizabeth Schuyler during their time in Morristown and how that connection helped shape the nation's future. Future programs will continue throughout the year, covering local Revolutionary War sites and lesser-known stories tied to Morris County history. The series is a part of preparation for the oncoming 250th anniversary for the American Revolution and aims to help residents better understand the history of their community.
This month, Union County is providing its senior residents, as well as their caregivers, expert guidance on lifestyles for elders. The Division on Aging, a branch of the Union County Department of Human Services, is hosting 3 events this month as part of their Aging Services Kiosk program, also known as ASK. These events allow adults ages 60 and up, or their caregivers, to inquire about programs and resources for older residents and to meet with professionals who can offer advice on assistance with a number of services, such as home-delivered meals, respite care, and more. The Aging Services Kiosk's first event of the month took place on February 4th. Their next will be on February 10th at Fanwood Memorial Library, and their final one will take place at Westfield Memorial Library. Both events will take place between 10 a.m. and 12 p.m., and both will have bilingual staff in attendance.
The New Jersey Wonders Foundation is an Elizabeth-based nonprofit started by Carlos Rivas and Jorge Martinez in April of 2025. The foundation uses soccer to teach life skills, provide mentorship, and reduce financial barriers to playing soccer for young athletes. The foundation was created in part to confront the pay-to-play model in the United States, which often limits participation based on income. Its most visible initiative is New Jersey Wonders FC, a semi-professional player development team representing Elizabeth. Players participate without pay, and older teammates are expected to mentor the younger players. The goal is to promote personal growth and help children graduate high school, enroll in college, and see a future for themselves. The foundation recently donated $3,000 to fund 2 $1,500 college scholarships in partnership with Elizabeth High School and the Elizabeth Chamber of Commerce. Additionally, the foundation has hosted free youth clinics, tournaments, and community events. New Jersey Wonders hopes to build something sustainable for the community.
It is not always easy to tell the difference between reporting and opinion, but there are clear signs that give it away every time if you know what to listen for. Reporting is based on facts. The purpose of reporting is to inform the audience about what actually happened. Reporting language focuses on verifiable details such as date, location, names, numbers, and direct quotes. When you hear reporting, the words are usually calm and specific. The story explains events in a neutral way and avoids telling the audience how to feel about them. A key giveaway of reporting is that it answers questions like who, what, when, where, and how without adding judgment. Opinion is based on personal beliefs or viewpoints. The purpose of opinion is to persuade or influence the audience. Opinion language often sounds more emotional or dramatic and includes judgment about people, decisions, or events. A major giveaway of opinion is to use words that signal judgment, such as calling something good, bad, dangerous, irresponsible, or unacceptable. Another clear sign is when the language tells you what should happen or what someone should have done. One of the strongest indicators is tone. Reporting sounds measured and explanatory. Opinion sounds convincing, critical, or passionate. Another giveaway is balance. Reporting often includes more than one perspective or source, even when they disagree. Opinion usually presents one side as clear right and the other side as clear wrong. The simple test is this. If the story is explaining events so you can understand them, it is reporting. If the story is trying to push you towards a conclusion, it is opinion. Knowing the difference matters because reporting helps people understand the world as it is, while opinion tries to shape how people think about the world. Both have a place, but they serve very different purposes.
Residents of Union County who are passionate about the outdoors should get excited for the return of a stimulating opportunity. The Union County Board of County Commissioners and the Union County Department of Parks and Recreation recently announced that the Trail Steward Orientation Meeting and Training Session for the Union County Parks Adopt a Trail program will take place this year on Saturday, February 28th from 9 a.m. to noon at the Trailside Museum in Mountainside. Volunteers who participate in the Adopt a Trail program assist with flight cleanup, monitoring trail conditions, and reporting maintenance concerns. By doing so, they play a vital role in ensuring the cleanliness, accessibility, and overall safety of the park trails for all who enjoy them. At the orientation, prospective and returning volunteers learn what to expect as trail stewards through a presentation and active training. To learn more about how to register for the free event, visit the website at the link shown on your screen.
NewJersey.com is reporting that Trixie, a 9-pound Chihuahua, was found on Tuesday, January 27th in Summit after she was reported missing 3 days earlier. Before her disappearance, she was last seen in a residential area. Since her disappearance, a snowstorm and brutal temperatures have swept across the Garden States. And on that fateful Tuesday afternoon, the Summit Police Department reported that someone found Trixie and brought her to the police headquarters. Trixie visited a veterinarian for evaluation. She has since been reunited with her family. We're happy to see Trixie reunited.
Public libraries are free to use, but they are not free to run. Behind every library building, programs and services is funding system that many people don't see or fully understand. Most public libraries are funded mainly through local taxes. This usually means property taxes collected by a town, city, or county. When residents pay local taxes, a small portion of that money is set aside to support the library. That funding helps pay for staff, books, digital resources, utilities, and building maintenance. Libraries may also receive funding from state governments. State funding often supports shared services such as statewide digital collections, trainings, and special programs. This money helps library offer more resources than a single town could afford on its own. In addition to tax support, many libraries rely on grants and donations. Grants can come from government agencies or private foundations and are often used for specific projects such as children programs, technology upgrades, or community events. Donations from residents and local organizations also play an important role, especially when libraries want to expand services without raising taxes. Public libraries matter because they serve everyone, not just people who can afford books, internet service, or private learning tools. Libraries provide free access to information, technology, and education. They help students study, job seekers search for work, families learn together, and older adults stay connected. Libraries also act as community spaces. They host classes, lectures, workshops, and cultural events. In many towns, the library is one of the few places where people can gather without being expected to pay money. When libraries are funded, the entire community benefits. They support education, lifelong learning, and equal access to information. That is why public libraries are not just buildings with books. They are public investments in knowledge, opportunity, and community life. For Real Good News, I'm Georgette Castro.
Residents of Union County can celebrate Black History Month this year by attending a free performance at UC PAC's Hamilton Stage in Rahway. Madame Salika, 1878, Songbird in the White House, is a special event conceived, directed, and hosted by award-winning journalist, author, and radio host Terrence McKnight. The performance is a recreation of Marie Madame Salika's historic recital at the White House for President Rutherford. Madame Salika performed alongside her husband Samson Williams, and the concert, which was suggested by Frederick Douglass, marked the first time that free African Americans performed there. The recreation performance at the Hamilton stage features the talent of Candace Hoyes, Justin E. Bell, and Kyle Walker. The free event takes place at 7 p.m. on February 19th, and registration is required. To register, visit ucnj.org/BHM, and to learn about other Union County Black History Month events, visit the website at the link shown on your screen. For Real Good News, I'm Xavier Reed.
The Madison Historical Society's film and discussion event is featuring the award-winning documentary film Saving the Great Swamp: Battle to Defeat the Jetport. The documentary film details the true story of citizens and activists and officials who fought from 1959 to 1968 to stop a massive 10,000-acre jetport planned for a rural New Jersey town. It showcases the power of grassroots action and the extraordinary effort that ultimately protected what is now the Great Swamp National Wildlife Refuge. After the screening, local filmmaker and creator of the documentary, Scott Morris, will lead the discussion. This event will be hosted on March 17th, 2026 at 7 p.m. in the Chase Room, Madison Public Library. And now, here is Tommy Nanomaker.
Real good news, I'm Tommy Nonenmaker. So, Hanover Park High School is getting ready to bring a fan-favorite musical to the stage later this month. Hanover Park High School presents its 2026 musical production of Little Shop of Horrors from February 26th through the 28th, with current time set for 7:30 p.m. each night in the Hanover Park High School Theater. Rehearsals are currently underway as student performers, musicians, and directors work together to bring the energetic musical comedy to life. The show features music by Alan Menken and a book by Howard Ashman, and it's known for its humor, memorable songs, and over-the-top characters. Tickets are on sale now and can be purchased online through Ticket Leap. Community members are encouraged to come out and support the students as they take the stage for what promises to be a fun and entertaining production. For ticket information, visit ticketleap.events and search Hanover Park Theater. Winter recreation is officially back in Madison as Rosedale Skating Rink is now open for the season, giving residents a classic outdoor option to enjoy the colder weather. The rink opened Friday evening and will be available to skaters whenever conditions allow. Borough officials remind the public that skating is permitted only when the flag is raised, signaling that the ice is safe. Each night, the rink will close promptly at 10 p.m. Officials are also asking skaters to help take care of the ice throughout the season. Visitors are encouraged to keep the surfaces clean, avoid leaving items on the ice, and if shoveling is needed, to push snow to the sides to keep the skating area smooth and safe for everyone. With cold temperatures settling in, the community is encouraged to take advantage of the rink while also doing their part to keep it well maintained, ensuring a safe and enjoyable winter season for skaters of all ages. The Parsippany girls wrestling team is not only growing in team members, but they are also growing in wins. A tight battle on the mat Friday night ended with a hard-earned win for the Parsippany girls wrestling team, which held off a late surge from the Cliffside Park girls wrestling team to secure a 33-31 victory. Parsippany jumped out to an early lead by controlling the lower weight classes. Genesis Martinez Flores sets the tone with a pin at 100 pounds, followed by strong wins from Olivia Mullane and Kenzie Ramadan. Emily McGee added another pin at 120 and a forfeit victory by Manu Rana at 126 helped Parsippany build an 18-0 advantage. Cliffside Park made things interesting in the middleweights. Diana Herrera recorded a major decision at 132 and back-to-back pins by Daisy Quavado de Leon and Ashley Bernal at 138 and 145 quickly narrowed the gap to just 2 pins. Parsippany responded down the stretch. Stephanie Suarez earned a key decision at 152 and forfeits by Jaslyn Lee at 165, and Nazareth Santos at 185 helped the Redhawks regain breathing room and seal the victory despite a late push. In the end, it was a full team effort that lifted Parsippany to a gritty win in one of the night's most competitive girls wrestling matchups. For Real Good News, I'm Tommy Nonenmaker.
And now it's time to hear from our good friend Kate Cherichello Tente from Healthy in the Garden State.
Welcome to A Dose of Health, your quick but deep dive into practical health and wellness tips from New Jersey experts, all in 15 minutes or less. I'm Kate Cherichello Tente, certified fitness professional and creator of Healthy in the Garden State. This mini-series is a part of our mission to spotlight the people, places, and resources across New Jersey, helping us to live healthier, fuller lives.
An exercise that would help their golf game, it would be anything pulling. So The one thing that happens is that with the kinematic sequence of the golf swing, you want to be able to use your glutes and your hips to generate that power from the ground. But essentially, it's really about pulling that club from the top of your backswing down into the ball. So any rowing motions will work the posterior chain or your back muscles or your lats. Those are the ones that help to pull. And then any hinging type motions like a deadlift or a Romanian deadlift or an RDL or even like a step up, those things will activate your glutes and your posterior chain down your leg. So those two combinations would be my choice.
We're grateful for Kate's work and invite you to check out Healthy in the Garden State at the end of today's show. Now, here is Steve Lubetkin from State Broadcast News. Take it away, Steve.
Thanks, Lisa. Most of the country's in the middle of a deep winter freeze with sub-zero temperatures encasing New Jersey in a big block of frigid polar air. So, of course, this seems like a good time to learn more about something that makes big cities seem even hotter in the summer. It's called the urban heat island effect. So what exactly does that mean? Dr. Ariane Middle is an associate professor at Arizona State University. She says the urban heat island effect happens when surfaces like asphalt, concrete, and steel absorb heat from the sun, then release it, making cities much warmer than nearby rural areas. She says we can cool cities down by planting more trees, installing reflective roofs to buildings, and replacing pavement with gravel or grass. But Dr. Middle says solutions need to go beyond just temperature. Dr. Middle, what has made you want to study this topic, and how has it affected you personally?
I started studying heat after I moved to Phoenix, Arizona. I was born in Germany, which has a very temperate, mild climate, lots of rain. And moving to Phoenix made me realize how heat is affecting everyone every single day for most of the year, really. And it's an issue that really needs to be worked on so that people can feel safe or be safe from the heat. So that's what got me into the heat research.
Why do cities exhibit this heat island effect?
City and neighborhood design have a huge impact on the urban heat island effect. One of the biggest contributors is the widespread use of heat-absorbing materials such as asphalt, concrete, and rooftops. And these surfaces soak up solar radiation during the day and then slowly release it at night. So that means that urban areas stay warmer after sunset. So when cities are designed with a lot of impervious surfaces and little vegetation, there's minimal natural cooling through processes like evapotranspiration from plants or shade from trees. And we have plenty of great infrastructure like roads and parking lots in cities, but these surfaces are typically designed for durability, not thermal performance, and they contribute heavily to localized heating. So you can see the way we design our neighborhoods and cities, what materials we use, what type of buildings, where we place vegetation and shade, can all intensify or help mitigate urban heat islands.
And how does living in an urban heat island affect communities and their people?
The urban heat island effect can have really serious consequences for communities, both physically and socially. So the most immediate impact is on human health. Higher temperatures, especially during prolonged heat waves, can lead to heat exhaustion, heat stroke, even death. Vulnerable populations such as the elderly, children, people with pre-existing health conditions, those without access to air conditioning, they're all at greater risk. Heat is actually the deadliest weather-related hazard in the U.S. It kills more people than lightning strikes or cold weather. And urban heat islands really amplify that risk by making cities hotter, especially at night when the body needs to cool down. Urban heat also affects quality of life. It can make it uncomfortable or even dangerous to spend time outdoors, walking to the bus stop, playing in the park, or just being outside. So this can reduce physical activity, limit social interactions, and increase the reliance on car and indoor spaces, which then in turn contributes to heat and emissions. So it's really a vicious cycle. And then economically, higher temperatures mean higher energy bills as people rely more on air conditioning. That puts a strain on both the power grid and on household finances, especially for low-income families. Some communities simply can't afford to cool their homes down, leading to a dangerous situation during extreme heat events. And then lastly, the impact of urban heat is not really felt equally throughout the city. So historically underserved neighborhoods often have fewer trees, more pavement, older infrastructure, and less access to cooling amenities. So urban heat isn't only a climate and health challenge, it also raises questions about equity and environmental justice. So in the end, addressing urban heat means investing in communities, rethinking design, and really ensuring that everybody has access to cooler, safer environments.
Is there a connection between urban heat islands and climate change?
Climate change and urban heat islands are really deeply connected. So together they create this dangerous feedback loop. As the climate warms, cities are experiencing more frequent, more intense, and longer lasting heat waves. And cities are also hotter because of the urban heat island. So climate change really turns up that baseline temperature, and urban design and urban heat islands adds an extra layer of heat on top. One important consequence is that the cooling off period at night is shrinking. Urban surfaces that retain the heat during the day are now releasing it into the atmosphere. And the atmosphere is already warmer because of climate change, which means that cities can stay hot well into the night, which can be especially dangerous for human health because our bodies need the nighttime cool down to recover from daytime heat exposure. And then climate change is also altering rainfall patterns, leading to drier conditions in some regions. So that reduces the effectiveness of natural cooling from vegetation. And in cities with limited water resources, such as Phoenix, where I live and work, it makes it harder to sustain green infrastructure like trees and parks. And at the same time, as temperatures rise, people use more air conditioning, which creates more waste heat and higher energy consumption, both of which further increase urban heating and contribute to greenhouse gas emissions. So it's really a reinforcing cycle. And then the good news is that many of the strategies that help reduce urban heat islands, like planting trees, also help cities adapt to climate change. So by addressing urban heat, we're also making our cities more resilient to climate change.
And I know some of your research is on this, but what are some effective solutions?
Well, there's no one-size-fits-all fix for urban heat islands, but we really have a powerful toolbox of strategies that can significantly reduce heat in cities. So one of the most effective and natural solutions is increasing vegetation. Trees, green roofs, parks. Trees provide shade, but they also cool the air through evapotranspiration. So just a single mature tree can make a noticeable difference in thermal comfort on a hot day. Another strategy is to use highly reflective materials for roofs. These materials reflect more sunlight and absorb less heat, which helps keep surfaces and air temperatures lower. And urban design also plays a key role here. So we can reduce the amount of paved surfaces, for example, replacing it with pervious alternatives such as gravel or grass. Shade, I mentioned this earlier, doesn't matter if it's shade from trees or shade sails or built structures, is also very critical, especially in public places, at bus stops or along pedestrian routes. And because shade directly reduces the heat load on a person's body, it can make a difference of up to 30 degrees Celsius that you feel cooler. That's what we found in Phoenix if you're under a shade structure. And then finally, equity is really an important aspect when it comes to heat. Mitigation efforts must prioritize neighborhoods that are most affected and really least equipped to cope. Often lower income or historically marginalized communities. So cooling cities is not just about comfort, but it's really about health, safety, and equity.
Is there a way that understanding urban heat islands matters in our understanding of how temperature affects people?
Yes, I think while the term urban heat island is incredibly useful for raising awareness that cities are hotter than their surroundings, I think it's time we move beyond this traditional definition because the concept is catchy and really easy to visualize. You have this hot island in a cooler sea, but it's also quite broad. It tells us the urban area is warmer overall, but it doesn't tell us where the heat is most intense within the city or who is most affected by this heat. So that's a problem because heat is not evenly distributed across the city. There are pockets or hot spots that can be much hotter than others, sometimes by several degrees. And these micro-urban heat islands can exist at the scale of a single block or neighborhood, and they're influenced by very local features, building materials, presence of trees, orientation of streets, access to shade, and so on. So if we want to protect people from the heat and design effective interventions, we need to zoom in and understand heat at the human scale, where people actually live, walk, or wait for the bus, or play in a park. So a citywide average or rural-urban temperature difference doesn't help a person standing in the sun with no shade on a 115-degree day. So yes, urban heat island is a great starting point, but addressing extreme heat really requires a more granular and really a very people-centered approach.
Our thanks to Dr. Ariane Middle. That'll wrap things up for now from State Broadcast News in Cherry Hill. Please visit our website, statebroadcastnews.com, and subscribe to our Substack at radiofreesomewhere.com. I'm Steve Lubetkin. Lisa, back to you.
Today, we are highlighting a local business that proves great style and smart shopping can go hand in hand. Erby's Elite Repeat is a woman's consignment boutique right here in Madison, offering carefully curated clothing and accessories that give high-quality fashion a second life. It is a place where sustainability and affordability and personal service all come together, making shopping feel both intentional and enjoyable.
Being a working woman since the 80s, I've always loved fashion. Bold and beautiful, different, unique. When I see things come in, I have what they say, an eye for it. And again, remember, there's ladies from the age of 16 to the age of 90 shopping here. So with that in mind, I pick and choose the most unique things that you will not find in the department stores. Because trust me, things made 10 and 15 years ago are of better quality, and people love what I choose. I'll show you the store. When you walk in, you are going to notice blazers, skirts, easy to grasp. You are going to see the accent pieces of your tops and blouses. You're going to come along and find cocktail dresses, long maxi skirts. Then I have ball gowns for your weddings, your galas, and your black tie events. Wrapping around, you've got a shoe. You've got your designer wear on the other side. And look up, ladies, because look at how many handbags that you will find. Basically, what makes me unique is I have a variety of gowns you could wear to weddings, formals, galas. People reach out by phone, they call here, they ask what I have in size. This is not all that I have. I moved here because I have a back inventory storage room. So the overflow is at my fingertip disposal. If you are going to a wedding in Florida, like color, they're hanging up in the next room.
What makes your store a little different, Lynn?
Oddly enough, people have told me they like just dealing with me. I'm happy, I'm always smiling, I'm obviously out there to help them. No matter what, if I am busy, please wait. Because again, it's all about the personal one-on-one attention, and you will get that. Mind you now, the ladies are all coming in because vintage furs are high in demand throughout the United States. You can watch it anywhere on social media. The ladies come in, they come to my back room here, which is in a U shape. I am wearing a knee length, but I also have several short little car coats, long to the ankle, full length. And this is the leftover of the inventory after the popular social TikTok media event went on. Wool coats, again, season's almost over. Spring is going to be coming in another 3 weeks. So ladies, come get your pick. Oddly enough, consignment shops are starting to close. The women that have run them for the last 10 to possibly 20 years, they're finding less and less traffic because of the online presence. With Depop, Poshmark, Mercari, my generation and younger want to touch and feel, which is why I have to curate as best as I can to wardrobe the women of today. So Erby's Elite Repeat is at 16 Park Avenue, Madison, New Jersey. The phone number is 973-425-1114. I am open Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 10 to 6, and Saturday, 10 to 4.
Erby's Elite Repeat is more than a boutique. It is a community-focused business that helps women refresh their wardrobes while shopping thoughtfully and locally. Whether you are consigning, browsing, or looking for that perfect piece, this shop shows how fashion can be both stylish and sustainable, right here in the heart of our town. For Real Good News, I'm Diane Smith-Kirsh.
And finally, Allen Swanson returns and takes a look at the prevalence of microplastics in our lives.
The human species, in fact, every living creature on this planet, is involved in an experiment. In fact, we are all the lab rats in this planet-wide experiment. I recognize that such a statement is rather extreme. So let me explain. Just in the last 2 years, scientists have developed new technologies that are able to detect and document the amount of nanoplastics present in all kinds of environments, including our bodies. What are nanoplastics? For many years, we have known that plastics break down in our environment and become microplastics, or very small pieces of plastic. What we were not able to detect until recently was the next stage of erosion of these plastic particles. That next stage is nanoplastics. Microplastics are usually 5 millimeters across, while nanoplastics are between 1 and 1,000 nanometers across. How small is that? The average human hair is roughly 80,000 nanoplastics across. These nanoplastics are invisible to all but the most powerful microscopes. That same technology that has exposed nanoplastics has also detected that these plastic particles are in our blood, in our liver, lungs, virtually everywhere, including as much as a spoonful in our brains. Nanoplastics are also found in the air, seawater, soil, food. In short, they are everywhere. Being everywhere includes our food chain, which means we are consuming plastic bits just about every time we eat. It's happening because unlike natural materials, plastic does not break down and disappear. In one form or another, plastic or its components remain in our environment. So what is the experiment? As of this date, researchers have been unable to ascertain what the presence of these bits of plastic are doing to us and other living things on Earth. Is it harmful or not? Without specific test results, we can take a look at plastic and see what we think. All plastics are made from fossil fuels, primarily oil, and chemicals. Researchers have found as many as 16,000 chemicals being used in plastics. Most of those chemicals have not been identified because manufacturers protect their formulas. According to a recent article in Medscape, over 70% of the 6,000 chemicals that have been identified were considered harmful. We would never knowingly consume those chemicals, but we are still ingesting them in our food and many other sources. How can this be happening? You remember, I said the nanoplastics cannot be seen. The problem is their minuscule size makes them travel through our air and water and enter the food chain of every living thing. Even the soil we grow our food in contains nanoplastics. There are many other sources of plastic that enter our body. Just a few are plastic food containers, plastic bottles, all plastic packaging for food, cosmetics, and on and on. Another major source of these tiny plastic pieces is our polyester clothing. All synthetic fabrics shed bits from their fibers while worn, in the washer, in the dryer, in the closet, everywhere. We are essentially eating, drinking, breathing, and wearing plastic every day. I won't tell you to decide your answer to the harm question related to plastics. I will tell you my answer is yes. It makes absolute sense that these chemicals do not belong in our bodies. That being the case, my wife and I do everything we can to avoid plastic, especially with our food. Fortunately, there are many ways to cut back plastic in our day-to-day life and in our body. There are increasing controls on plastic use and plastic designed to reduce human exposure to plastic and every other area of the environment. No one expects that humans will discontinue using plastic. So, during my next commentary, I intend discussing what is being done to decrease our exposure to micro and nanoplastics. I hope to emphasize those things you can do in your everyday activities to decrease plastics. If you're interested in the introduction to the reduction of plastic in your home and more, watch this space. I'm Allen Swanson. Thank you for watching.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Real Good News. We'll be back on February 22nd for another episode. And until then, I'm Lisa Allen with a reminder that real good news is always worth sharing.
Now, a lie is everywhere in the world. For the truth can put on its pants. Tell the truth. So my mission without fail is helping truth prevail. You got to give the truth a fighting chance. Tell the truth. Beauty's truth, truth is beauty. And it's my civic duty to always write a reality. More than love, money, fame, more than rip on your good name.
I tell you something else about the truth, it will
Set you free on the road to truth you take. There's only two mistakes. Don't go all the way or don't even stop. Now sometimes truth is pain.